You've made quite some history this past few weeks. You've put a bill in place that's been passed. BitCoin is going to be legal tender. What made you decide to do this?
Oh, thank you, Peter, for the interview. Nice shirt, though, the Pink Floyd one.
Thank you.
I had to take away my president suit because my president costume because I'm having dinner with the first lady and she wanted me to dress like a human being. So like you and me.
I got the blue socks though.
Well, I got the blue socks last time, and now I have to change. So I had to take my president costume off. No, thank you for everything. I really, when you make a decision, it can either be a decision that you take because it's a historical debt, or you can be forward thinking. Both are necessary. For example, if you have, like in El Salvador, huge crime rate that you need to lower down, then you have to take decisions to do that because it's a historical debt. You owe that to the people. And we have done quite well in that area. Even though we still have a lot of crime, but it has gone down quite a lot. But sometimes you also have to take forward-thinking decisions and try to, not to foresee the future, but at least to know where the world is going and try to get there first. So your people will get some benefit out of it. And in the case of BitCoin, I mean, it's just, the system is just beautiful. I mean, you have this guy, we don't know who he is, we know his fake name, inventing something, or probably a bunch of guys. But they invented this thing that it's beautiful in its thinking, and not only because it's free and because it's peer-to-peer, or because, but every detail was thought well before it happened. Like for mining, for example. At the beginning, you could mine with your laptop. Now you need all these powerful computer systems. But at the beginning, the worth of Bitcoin was really low. So nobody would invest in these powerful machines. So at that time, the blockchain and the puzzles were simple. And then you just needed your normal equipment. So everybody could invest in that and have these coins that were worth very little. But with time, Bitcoin increased in price. And at the same time, it got more complex and you needed more power in your computer and more. So you need more investment to do that. So nobody would have done the investment if the prices would have gone up, wouldn't have gone up. So this guy or this group of people thought about it like everything would come in place right at the time that it would be needed to go in place. So when you look at everything that has happened since the beginning of Bitcoin till now, you can predict what's going to happen in the future, and it's going to be a lot bigger than it is right now, which is quite big actually. But it's going to be even bigger than what it's now. So I think a lot of, not only countries, but people are switching themselves to Bitcoin. And then you have all of the problems with the current monetary systems. And the Bitcoin system is so perfect that I think it's going to be the future. And it is the present already in a lot of things, but it's going to be big, way bigger in the future. And why? I mean, El Salvador has not been the country that's recognized to be the first in innovation, but why not this time? So being the first country adopting Bitcoin as a legal tender, it's a good thing for our country. And if you add up the practical reasons, like receiving remittances at the speed of light and having almost no costs, like you would have with Western Union and those types of systems, having financial inclusion to 70% of the people that doesn't own bank accounts, having a lot of investment in tourism that would come from this, and not becoming independent, because we're not, but at least becoming a little less dependent on the output of new dollars and the new inflation that's coming with those new dollars. We don't perceive any of that. Because when a country prints more money, there's a good side and a downside. The good side or the upside is that the government has more money to spend. The downside is the inflation because you're just pouring in more money with no basis. But the problem with using an international currency that is not yours to print is that you're only absorbing the cost. I mean, now your dollars are worth less, but you're not getting any of the new printed money because they didn't print it for you. So for a country like ours, and we're not the only country of the world with that reality, I think having Bitcoin as legal tender, even though nobody has done it before, it was a no-brainer.
But why not launch your own currency?
The world is becoming smaller, more interconnected. Of course, we can do our own currency. It would be, we have the support in Congress. It would be normal. I mean, most countries have their own currency. We had our own currency. So yeah, why not? But I don't think that would be as innovative, or it would drive financial inclusion, or it would help people that receive remittances, or it would put El Salvador in the forefront of a new digital revolution. Or, I mean, yeah, it might be good monetary policy, but it won't do more than that. So we're thinking in all of the things around Bitcoin, not only Bitcoin as and like I said before in your first question, we think it's the future. So why not going for the future and not going to the past by issuing these old paper currencies that, they're still worth something, but, with time passes, a lot of people are switching away from them.
So what is you've obviously spent time thinking about it. What are the risks of this project for you? Because there's internal risks, but there's also external risks.
What could be the risks? I mean, yeah, you could get some people angry or mad at us. They haven't been so good to us anyway. I mean, let's see how things are here. 70% of people, they don't even have a bank account. So some banks may be upset, yeah, but they are not taking care of 70% of our people. I mean, it's not like we're doing good in the old system, so why not try a new system that it looks good to me? I mean, for me, it looks bulletproof. I'm pretty sure this is going to work, not only for us, but for humanity, because it's a leap forward for humanity. And if we can be part of it, and an important part of it, our small country, we're the smallest country in the continent. And if we can be at the forefront of an economic revolution, why not try that? And what are we risking? I mean, there's probably some small risks, but I really don't see them as big risk. Only probably getting some people angry at us, but they haven't been so nice to us anyway. So why not try something new that it's handled by anybody, instead of being in the hands of somebody that could decide your monetary future from one day to another without consulting you or anything, or without caring what's going to happen to you or your people. Why not the system that it's open and free? It sounds a lot more appealing to me than the old system.
What is it like to be a president and be in this situation? This, just even sat here doing this interview, for me, it is very surreal. It's never something I thought I would do. You're a president, and you're a president of a country. I know it's a country you love deeply and you love the people. You have to deal with the United States and international institutions. What is it like being a president, the responsibilities, the pressures, and also what is it like dealing with these international institutions who hold a lot of power?
I do love my country and my people, and I want them to thrive and to succeed. And I know how most of them are doing. And what I'm telling you now, I mean, any politician can say that, but they know it's true. They love me back. That's why we're doing so good in the polls. And I've been 2 years in office. It's not like, I'm honeymoon or anything. Mm-hmm. And it's not because I'm perfect or because all that we do is the best of the best. No, it's just that people know that we try really hard. And everything that we do, we are thinking of what's going to be the future of this country, what's to be the future of our people, and what is going to be how is humanity going to see us, and how the rest of the world is going to see us. But at the same time, when you talk about this big financial institutions, we have a lot of respect for them. They're very big, they're very powerful, and frankly, we need help from them, and they have helped us in the past, and they will probably help us in the future. Having said that, I'm really more preoccupied in how the world. When I said the world, how the world sees us, I'm more preoccupied as how the real world sees us, because the real world is not in some office with 5 guys in a table. The real world is out there, and if you look at the news right now, or the conversation in social media, there's more conversation about there's tons of more conversation about El Salvador than a month ago. And most of it is good. Of course, there's always going to be some haters and everything. I mean, that's just how free speech works, right? But most of the people are enthusiastic, or at least curious about what's going to happen in El Salvador, and that's something I'm happy for, because this might be not the biggest country in the world, or the richest, or the one with the most GDP, but it's our country, and it's the country I most love. So I'm very happy that this is happening here, and I know it's going to help millions of Salvadorans, and probably it's going to help billions of humans, because the example we're going to set up here is going to resonate in all over the world. And you're already seeing politicians from Paraguay, Panama, Honduras, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Nigeria, Tanzania. Today, I think BBVA, the bank from Banco Bilbao Vizcaya, just said that they're going to operate with BitCoin in Switzerland. So you're seeing all of these changes happening. Of course, not every change is driven by what we're doing here, but at least it's influenced, or at least it's being checked, or at least they are curious about what's happening. And I'm just excited about what's going to happen to our country in a good way, and excited about the benefits that our people are going to receive in so many issues and so many benefits. And I really don't see the downside. Probably the only downside, like I told you before, was if you're going to get some people mad. But we're going to try to calm them down. We're not doing anything bad here. We're just looking for the best interest of the people. And this is not like you said. This is not a more. We could do something centralized, our own currency, whatever. But we're looking into something that's open, free, and most importantly, that it will work. So we're looking at that this will be a huge game changer for El Salvador. I think that's a no-brainer also. It's going to be a huge game changer, one way or the other. Everybody, you have to see it. This is going to be a game changer. It has already been a game changer, and the law hasn't gone into effect yet. So imagine when it goes into effect. This is going to be huge for us, and a huge example to humanity.
Wow, all the eyes are on El Salvador right now, especially in the Bitcoin world. A lot of people are coming to visit. I get emails and texts on a daily basis asking me what it's like, where they should travel to, what they should see. And it's been a big year for Bitcoin. We had Michael Saylor make big bets on Bitcoin. We had Elon Musk make a big bet on Bitcoin. But Bitcoin is also naturally skeptical of politicians. Satoshi wanted to separate money and state, which kind of this project does anyway. And we always say, don't trust, verify. We got very badly burned, or a lot of Bitcoiners feel they got badly burned by Elon Musk. And so then I really put to you is, why should people trust you?
They don't have to. Because the Bitcoin is an open and free system. So they don't have to trust us. They have to trust the system. And we trust the system. It's like we have spoken very candidly and everything, but I don't have to trust you, and you have to trust me. It's just that we both trust the system, and it's gonna work, and that's gonna be good. If you're a proponent of Bitcoin, being used by people and by communities and by countries and by banks and by merchants. You have to be on board of this project. I mean, you can't be if you don't want to. You can, but why would you oppose a project that is aligned with your ideals, that it's aligned with what you think it's good, that you know that it's going to benefit the people? You know, I mean, you don't have to trust me. You have to trust the system, and it's going to work, and it's going to benefit a lot of people. So if you want to get on board that, you can, and if you don't want to get on board that, you just don't get on board. But I think it's going to be very good, and you don't have to trust me. I mean, I would like people to trust me. We're human beings. We're social animals. We love people liking us. I mean, that's the way we work, the way we function. But Bitcoiners does not need to trust me. They don't need to trust me. They just need to trust the system, and they need to trust Bitcoin working for Salvadorans. And if that works, we're all served, and we're all happy. And if they want to like me, fine, but they don't have to like me or you. They just, we're just human beings. We're just imperfect human beings. And actually, you may like some things about somebody and some things you don't like about somebody, but that's something personal. I mean, we're not talking about something personal here. We're talking about a new monetary system. We're not talking about a person. We don't know about if Satoshi was very nice or not very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Is he a man or a woman or 100 persons? I mean, it's just, you don't have to like him as a person. You just have to like the system.
I mean, the wheels are in motion now. But are there any scenarios where this stops? This project stops? Are there any scenarios where you think, you know what, we don't do this anymore? Or is this happening? This is real?
No, it's happening. It's the law of the land. It's just approved by more than a supermajority in Congress. You know, our Congress has 84 seats. You only need 43 to change monetary policy, which is half plus one. That's the majority, right? So but we have something called supermajority here that you need 2/3, which would be 56 out of 84. We got 63 votes. I mean, we got more than 2/3. We actually got almost 3/4 of the votes. I mean, I don't see this being stopped. This is just going forward every day. We're just going to announce a lot of interesting things that's going to move the project even forward. Mining, energy, a lot of things. And I mean, like you said, a lot of people are already coming and developing apps and things. I just seen like promotions just for Salvadorans. I just seen this company, I'm not going to advertise it, but this company just said, just for Salvadorans, if you join in now, you get $25. And it's like, I mean, this is happening every day. A lot of people are coming. A lot of people want to see things by themselves. In Sonte, in Bitcoin Beach, which actually they were the pioneers in all of this, and the lab that proved that it can be done in our country. And they were very smart. I know I'm changing the subject a little bit, but they were very smart into go into a place that's not rich. Because they didn't went to a rich neighborhood and try it there. And you would say, no, well, but they're rich, they have savings. No, they were to a community, they were to a poor community. They went to a very poor community, and they proved that it worked. And if it worked in El Sonte, it will work in El Salvador. So, I don't see anything stopping it. I mean, everything done by humans can be stopped, but I just don't see how. This is law. It's the government is working 24/7 in getting going into effect in 80 days. So we're running. We're going to do things as best as we can. And remember, Bitcoin works by itself, so it's not that like it depends on what we do. But of course, the things that we are doing, it will protect the decision and guarantee that there will be the more benefits for the people. So yeah, this is happening. I just don't see how it's not going to happen.
Well, I first came here about 20 months ago. I think Bitcoin Beach had been live for a couple of months. I met Michael Peterson in Uruguay, invited me out here. So I came 2 days later. And when I got to the airport, he picked me up and he said, "Oh, we have a new president." And this always stuck with me because he said he campaigned under this slogan, "There's enough money when no one steals." You've obviously got a history of some presidents who have filled their pockets and protected themselves. And it feels like you've come in as president and wanted to genuinely change the country and genuinely want to do something different from the country. And you're also young. You're younger than me.
That's not that young, right?
I mean, for a
being younger
president,
than you is very common.
I mean, come on, come on.
Most
Wow.
people in the world are younger than you.
That is
You know,
true.
like 75% of the
I don't
population.
feel young.
I'm joking.
But compared to like the US president, you know,
yeah.
he's, I don't know how old he is. Like,
It's very easy to be younger than him.
do you think this is your advantage in that you're able to relate to younger people, but you're able to build a future for people of a similar generation? Do you think that's the difference you've been able to make?
It should be one of them. I mean, not the only. I mean, it's not like being young guarantees anything. Being young is just a normal process of biological process of getting old. I mean, the minute you were born, you started to get old. So being young is just a process. I mean, it doesn't guarantee anything. But I mean, it has to be a factor in your way of thinking, you know, the way that you relation yourself with the world, social media. Where do you consume your information? I mean, do you consume more information in social media, or do you go to legacy TV networks? I mean, it has to be a big factor, but it's obviously it doesn't guarantee anything. I mean, it's a big factor, but you can have good people of older age or bad people of younger age, and the other way around. It's just, you know, it's also a matter of decency, and a matter of where do you see yourself in the future. I don't want to see myself in jail or something. So, you know, I just want to. I mean, I want to see a good future for me, for my family, for my daughter, for the world, for my country, and you know. You know this. Money is important, but it's over. I think it's overestimated, the importance of it. I mean, you need. I mean, money is nice, but you need the freedom and the tranquility to spend it and to enjoy it, and not being, you know, prosecuted, or I'm not gonna be stupid.
Well, I mean, what do you want your legacy to be with this? Because, like I said, there's a history of presidents here who have let the country down, and you're in this position to do something unique. How important is your own legacy? Like, we all have an ego, you know. And this is peak ego for me. But like, what is the legacy that you want to build?
Well, it's not only in currency, of course, but when I was sworn in as president, we had a homicide rate, a very, very high homicide rate. We had a country with no hope. We had a country with, you know, this was probably unknown for the majority of people, and the people that knew about it because of the gangs, or because of the Civil War, or because of immigration to the U.S. So changing that will take more than adopting Bitcoin as a legal tender. But that would be part of it. And I just want to see my countrymen proud of our country, and proud of our, you know, it's proud of our culture, proud of who we are. And of course, I can't do everything as president, because it's you know, there are limits to what you can do. Not only legal limits, but also time limits, you know, the capacity limits. I mean, you don't have a magic wand, right? I wish, but we don't have a magic wand. But I want Salvadorans to be proud of their country, and about being Salvadorans, about who we are, and to, you know, we have egos, But that's not the problem is not having egos. The problem is what does your ego want? If your ego wants to be proud of the job you've done, if your ego wants the love of your people, I mean, that's good things having on your ego. Now, if you want to get rich by stealing money, or if you want to be a crook, I mean, that's a bad ego, right? So, I mean, I do want to leave a legacy, and as big as it can be. But I don't know how much I'm going to be able to accomplish. But my dream would be like that El Salvador will transit its way from the third world to the first world. It's probably not going to be done in a couple of years, but probably at least we can set up the path. So eventually it goes there.
Well, that reminds me of something my friend Balaji says. He said, we often refer to the first and the third world, but actually we should be referring to the ascending and the descending world. And it certainly feels like El Salvador is part of the ascending world now.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. But you wouldn't, I wouldn't think the whole first world is descending and the whole third world is ascending, but you could pinpoint some examples of transition from being very good to not so good and being bad to being better. Yeah, you would find some examples of that.
Is 5 years enough to do this job? Does that put a lot of pressure on you? Because I wasn't aware it was a one-term presidency or you couldn't do consecutive terms when I came here. And that was explained to me. And I've been to Bolivia where Morales has changed things, and and I've spoken to locals, and some people have been it's concerned that you maybe would consider changing the constitution to do a second term. But I also at the same time felt like 5 years as a president is a short amount of time.
Yeah, it is. For example, but even 10 years, it would be, even 20 years. I mean, it's not the amount of time, because there's not going to be a fixed amount of time to fix things. But you can, like I said before, you won't achieve such a big switch in the country in 10 years or in 15. And so you would have to set things into a path and try that path to be followed by example. And you would see that in other places. There's a lot of world leaders that weren't even presidents, but they set up their country in the right path. Mm-hmm. So I just think that if we do things the right way, we will set up a path that is going to be followed by example, and even the people are going to ask for that the good things to continue. There's some things that they might not like and say, let's change this couple of things. But the good things, they all going to ask them. They all going to have to continue. And in a democratic society, even though we're maybe poor, but we're democratic. And in a democratic society, the power of the people is very strong, because they go into the polls and they decide which president you want. And if you see in El Salvador's history, you just mentioned that about a president that had been from the last four presidents, 3 of them have been indicted for jail. I mean, one of them died in prison in house arrest. The other one is in prison, and the other one is exiled in Nicaragua because he has 7 arrest warrants. So it's not that we live in a country where presidents do as they wish. I mean, we have a history of don't letting people get away with crime or with. So I just don't think that if we do the things the right way, people will allow somebody to come and destroy everything we have done, and they will probably elect somebody that promises to continue with the good things.
So I'm going to switch gears into a bit of Bitcoin now.
Yeah.
People always want to know someone's Bitcoin story, and whenever there's an interview, can you remember when you first took a look at Bitcoin? Did you get it straight away? Did you dismiss it? Tell me your journey. No,
I'm not as a huge Bitcoiner as you are.
My life's work.
Yeah, I've read your history. Now, no, when I saw the system, I thought it was like very, very smart. But at the beginning, you would be skeptical about how big would it get, or how would it be stopped, or would people accept it, or is it just a good idea? There would be thousands of good ideas that just vanish with time or in the air, or because they're not adopted by people, or they're not strong enough to persist with time and grow. But now, after several years, this is not personal. This is just as president, seeing Bitcoin growing, like they say, if you see a dip, just zoom out, right? If you see Bitcoin getting bigger, and not only in price, because that thing about getting everything against the price with the US dollar, I think it defeats the purpose. Although it's for transition purpose, you have to do it. But I don't know. I just thought from the beginning the system was beautiful, but now I'm more convinced, since it has withstand the pressure of time and the changes in the global landscape and the political landscapes. I mean, 3 U.S. presidents now, countries changing totally, the world stage changing, social media exploding. I mean, you have all of these things, and Bitcoin has not only persisted, but in fact it has grown. So now I just don't see like a very, very nice idea that it's probably gonna get to something very important, but actually it is a very important thing now. So it has proven itself, and at the beginning it was interesting. Now it's a reality, and that's my personal the journey of my personal opinion of it, which, by the way, like I told you before, it doesn't matter anymore.
Well, almost all classical economists have rejected Bitcoin.
Of course, because they're classical economists.
Yeah.
I mean, you just define them.
They don't understand.
Well, I don't think they don't understand. I think they don't want to understand, because all of their preconceptions, their theses, their works, their books, their prices would be meaningless because they were wrong. So they have to defend. I don't think they're that against Bitcoin. I think they're more trying to defend their personal stories. I mean, imagine somebody that's very, well-known, a recognized person in economy, and having attacked Bitcoin for a decade, and now it would be very hard for him to see Bitcoin succeed, because it would mean that he was wrong. It would mean that all of the prices he got, I mean, at least they're outdated. But sorry, I interrupted you with the question,
but you're fine. It's fine.
Yeah, but I just think you define it. You define the answer with the question itself.
So we heard from the World Bank this week they're not going to help with the Bitcoin integration due to concerns over the environment and the transparency.
Yeah,
Did you expect this?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It makes no sense. I'm not going to get into a fight with the World Bank. They are free to support us, and they are free to not supporting us. So, and they support us in other issues like education and health. So if they don't want to support us in this currency, this new currency adoption, they're allowed to. I mean, they don't have to do as we told them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fine. It's fine.
Doesn't change anything.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, because we didn't ask him to fund the Bitcoin project or anything. We just asked him for like technical support. But there's huge of talent right here before. So it's good to have the World Bank seal in a project, because they give you prestige. We have enough talent with these people designing the wallets, designing everything. With the guys that design Bitcoin Beach and everything, the ecosystem, the wallets, the Lightning Network, everything. We have enough talent, so we're not lacking talent here. This is way before we announced the the adoption of Bitcoin as a legal tender. This place was full of talent working 24/7 to make this work. And it's gonna work because most of these people, they're not here to make money from it. They're here because they're idealists and they want this thing to work and to make a difference for the people that need it the most. And that's not something common. I mean, you won't find, it's not easy to find a country where we have a lot of people from other countries working almost for nothing, rather than making the people of that country, the lives of the people of that country better. So what's happening here is not only the adoption of Bitcoin as a legal tender, but what's happening here is having all of this talent and all of these people that want to prove themselves that this is the right thing to do and this is going to be good for the people, and good for the people, not from the people, the rich people. It's going to be good from the bottom up. And they are giving their time, their money, their names, their credibility, their passion, everything. So we would, having the World Bank advisors or technical support would have been nice, but we really don't need it. I think the talent that is here working in this, it's way more than enough.
What about the IMF? There's a lot of interest
Yeah.
with your meetings with the IMF.
Yeah, they're concerned, but we're a full member of the IMF, a full member of the World Bank, a full member of the IDB. I mean, El Salvador is not a pariah state or this quasi country or whatever. We're a full member. We have a governor in the IMF. We have El Salvador is a full member of all the organizations, financial and non-financial, like the UN, the OAS. And we're a good behaving and law-abiding country. This is just exercising our sovereign right to adopt legal tenders. Mm-hmm. Like we adopted the US dollar in the year 2001. What's the difference? The only difference probably is the reasons why we are doing this. In 2001, it was probably done for the benefit of the banks, and this decision is done for the benefit of the people. But that shouldn't be a case of too much concern. So I think we have been explaining the things to the World Bank, to the IMF. Sorry, we have been explaining them, and we'll do more explaining if they want to. But the best explaining would come up in September when the law comes into effect and everybody sees how it works and how it benefits the merchants, the small businesses, how it benefits everybody, how it benefits the country in jobs, in economic development, in everything. So, yeah, I mean, they're a little concerned, but I think they're fine with it, and they will be fine with it.
Well, it's an aggressive rollout strategy, 90 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, why so fast?
Well, why should we slow it down?
There's a lot to do in 90 days.
Yeah, there's a lot to do, but we like to work under pressure. And I think it's gonna be enough time to roll it out. And the law has some considerations if you're not fully rolled out. So it's gonna work. 90 days, I think it's enough. I think we're gonna prove ourselves that we can work fast enough. And like I said, we have a lot of support and a lot of talent from people that just love this project, and they are working their asses in this project just because they love it.
Why within the law did you make it a requirement for economic agents to accept Bitcoin? Because that is one thing a lot of people have asked about.
Yeah, well, Article 7 is very important. Mm. But you cannot look into Article 7 without looking into Article 8 and Article 12, because they work together. I mean, it's like getting Article 7 without looking into Article 8 and 12. It's getting Article 7 out of context. Now, Article 7 actually protects the people. Why? Because imagine people in the Zonte would work in an ecosystem with Bitcoin, right? And this 70% of population, because El Zonte represents the 70% of population, even though it was very small population, but it represents 70% of our population which has no bank accounts. It's outside the financial system. They not only don't have bank accounts, but they don't have a credit card. I mean, so imagine these people in El Zonte or in some other places working in an ecosystem with Bitcoin, and then having their sats and going into a pharmacy to buy medicine with their sats, right? They just got from a tourist, and the pharmacy would say, "Oh, I'm not gonna receive your sats because I'm a private agent. I just don't want your sats." So you will actually be it would be a discrimination against 70% of the people that you want to benefit, because if you want to benefit the people that don't have bank accounts, that they don't have savings, that they don't have another way of payment, and they would earn Bitcoins with hard work and selling pupusas, then they have to be able to go and buy medicine or food and have them receive their sats. Now, there's something in Article 8 which protects the pharmacy, because you would say, well, but Bitcoin is something that promotes freedom. So you need the freedom to either accept or not accept Bitcoin, right? But Article 8 gives you the power to immediately and automatically exchange the Bitcoin that they are giving to you into dollars. So the pharmacy, which is required in Article 7 to accept Bitcoin so it don't discriminate on the woman that comes from the community and is buying medicine, Article 8 protects the pharmacy, because if they don't want to receive Bitcoin, they just press the button and they will receive US dollars. So why would they reject accepting Bitcoin from this lady that comes from the pupusa shop, and if they will receive the dollars that they are asking for their products? Because if their product says $5.50, they will receive $5.50 in their app. So why would they reject this lady's sats? It doesn't make any sense. So we need Article 7 to protect 70% of the people, and we need Article 8 to protect 30% of the people. Now we also have Article 12, which if somebody says, okay, I don't have the technology, I don't have the phone, I don't have a smartphone, I don't have an internet access, where I live, internet is not so good, or I cannot use this thing, I don't know how to use the app. Well, that's why Article 12 is there, so he doesn't have to use it if he can't use it. And of course, we will promote the use of it, because we don't want them to be left behind the benefits of Bitcoin. So we will promote them to use it, but of course they will be at their own pace. And if it takes us of course, we will try that it takes less, but if it takes us 5 or 10 years to implement it fully, well, it would take what it takes. But it's not. First, let's be clear on something. Having something as legal tender, it means that you can pay all your public or private debts with it. That's the definition of legal tender. You cannot do a legal tender that is not accepted. It won't be a legal tender. There will be probably foreign currency, or it will be something else, an asset, but it won't be a legal tender. But Article 7 is not there just to enforce the legal tenderish. It's there to protect the people that is going to work in this ecosystem. And Article 12 is to protect the people that would get the money from the people that are working in the ecosystem. And Article 12 is to protect everybody. So at the end, it's a very simple, short law, very few articles, very clear, no fine print, no earmarks, no pork. It's very clean. Simple, short, easy to read, easy to understand, nothing hidden. I mean, and totally optable, because you can actually opt out. I mean, you have to take this, you have to accept the sats, but you have to receive them. So you can actually receive US dollars. So how can you complain? I mean, you're receiving what you asked for. You're asking for US dollars, you're receiving US dollars. What's your problem that the other person is benefiting for exchanging his sats? It doesn't make any sense because you have full freedom to choose between Bitcoin or US dollars, and the person paying has full freedom to choose between Bitcoin or US dollars. So it's full freedom for both of them. And it's probably the only system in the world when the payer can pick one of the choices that is different from the seller. And both of them have full freedom. So this is beautiful. It's just like Bitcoin. It's just something made for Bitcoin because it gives full freedom to the seller, but also gives full freedom to the buyer. And I mean, what can be better than that? Full freedom for both of them.
And are you planning to hold Bitcoin in the country's reserves?
No.
You're not?
No, we're not. We're planning to hold Bitcoin in the trust fund. We're going to have a Bitcoin trust fund in our country's development bank, and we're going to hold Bitcoin, and we're also going to hold US dollars so we can do the automatic exchanges. So we are actually going to protect the volatility. So if it changed in the 5 minutes or 1 minute that it took to make the transaction, it doesn't matter because the government will deposit in your account the amount of dollars you ask in the retail price. So if you're selling this pair of shoes in $50, you will receive $50. It doesn't matter if the price of Bitcoin changed in the price of Bitcoin against the dollar changed in the time you were doing the transaction. You will receive the $50. You would get that deposited into your account. So we will hold some Bitcoin in the trust fund, but we're not in the national reserves. That's in the central bank. It's a different story there. Probably in the future. Yeah, probably. Yeah, why not? I mean, we believe in it. It's just that it's not part of the law. The law enacts the trust fund, but it doesn't force the central bank to buy Bitcoin in its reserves. But of course, there could be a central bank's decision.
How do you plan to roll out an education program? Because you know Bitcoin's complicated. There's a lot to learn. How do you plan?
Well, it's not that complicated because you don't have to understand it fully. It's like the fiat system. Mm-hmm. Nobody really understands the fiat system. No. I mean, people know that if they have $5 and the thing they are going to buy is $4, they're going to get $1 in return. Everybody knows that. But people don't know actually how the system works, how the money is backed, how is it printed, how is it issued, who controls it. People don't really know how the system works, the traditional system, the fiat system. They don't really know how it works. But they know how it works for them. So what we need to do is that we should roll out this huge education campaign, but we don't need to explain all the details of how it works because probably not even you know how the details of how it works. I mean, do you know how to solve a puzzle? I mean, you have to provide enough information for the people to know how it works and don't be scammed, how it functions, is in their best interest. That's very important. But how the full system works, I mean, probably very few people in the world know how the full system works. And it works the same way with traditional monetary systems. Very few people in the world actually knows how a traditional monetary system works.
So let's talk about the infrastructure. Are you planning to launch a government wallet, or are you planning to open it up to the market for competition, for people to come in? What are you planning on doing?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, we announced this before. We're gonna do a government wallet we're developing with Strike. Jack Mallers and his team are putting this up. And it's like I can tell you before, these people, I mean, I'm really, it's not common. They're developing their own competition. They're doing really well here. Strike is the Strike wallet is the most downloaded app in El Salvador. Mm-hmm. More than Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, WhatsApp. It's the Strike wallet right now. And they are designing the government wallet. It will, of course, compete with their wallet because they love the project. They love the project and they want it to succeed. And they know that the governmental wallet is very important for the project to succeed because we're going to guarantee, especially for low-income people, to have access to a wallet that it's free. It's free on the internet. I mean, you can access without having an internet plan. You can access the wallet because it's the governmental one. So the cell phone carriers will give you free access to it, and we're going to guarantee the automatic convertibility of Bitcoin to the US dollar and vice versa with that app and with the trust fund. So, and we can actually, send people some benefits with their wallets, with their digital wallets. So it's going to be very important in the adoption of Bitcoin, especially for the most vulnerable population. But of course, it's going to be open to the market. A lot of people would prefer, international wallets that work better when they travel. So it's going to be interesting. We're just going to put one more option up there. The government is not in it to make money. We're not launching a wallet because we want to be a wallet company. We're just doing it because we want to fill in the holes or the gaps that the system might have, and we want to, since Article 12 says we have to provide the technology, we have to provide the capacity and the education so everyone can access to the benefits. And we don't want a law that it's only for the rich or only for not even only for the middle class. We want a system that works for everybody. So, and we want the most vulnerable economically to benefit from that. So I think the governmental wallet will be a very important piece in it. Now, they show us some numbers, in India, for example, they made a governmental wallet is used by less than 1% of the population. Sometimes they don't work, because sometimes people use, the free market system is the best system in the world, and sometimes it just develops better things, than the government can develop. But I think, at least for the beginning, it's very important that the government has an option, a public option. So we fill in the gaps and the doubts and the risks and the volatility, and so we make sure that everybody is able to benefit from this project. So we're going to do our own wallet, but it's going to be open to all the wallets. It's not going to be there's no monopoly or oligopoly involved in this project.
There are a lot of people now interested in El Salvador, a lot of companies looking, after we tweeted that I'd met with you, I had a lot of people getting in touch and saying, can you introduce me? We want to invest in the country. We also have an industry with altcoins, we call them shit coins. Bitcoin itself is hard to understand. There's a lot to understand. But how do you feel about the entire crypto industry being opened up to the people of El Salvador?
Well, it's a Bitcoin law. It's very hard to put in place two currencies working at the same time, and like I said before, give total freedom to the seller and total freedom to the buyer at the same time, even if the seller and the buyer pick a different currency. So it's hard. It's not really hard, but you have to put an infrastructure in place, a trust fund, some rules that facilitate the transactions, and etc. We're not going to ban any other crypto currencies or whatever, but this is a Bitcoin law. It's just for Bitcoin for several reasons. But the main reason would be that it would be impossible to have 10 legal tenders. Having 2 legal tenders it's quite a challenge enough. Then to go and have 3, 4 legal tenders, that's not going to happen. It's just going to be Bitcoin. Now, if somebody wants to invest, this is a free country. You can put your factory, your offices here. It's free. It's a free country. But a legal tender, it's only US dollar and Bitcoin, and that's the way it's going to be. So we're putting all of our bets and efforts on Bitcoin.
And what if people do want to invest or they want to migrate here? When are you open for business?
Well, we're open for business now. Now, there's going to come new laws are going to come out shortly. Like, for example, the law of residency when you invest 3 Bitcoins. Mm-hmm. And I have to remind something, because somebody asked me that. It's not that you're paying 3 Bitcoins for the residency. You just have to invest them.
That was me last time.
Well, it was you, yeah, probably. Yeah, you just have to invest them. You can buy a house.
A Tesla.
Yeah, of course. You can buy a house or a Tesla, or you can buy whatever you want. And you just have to buy something or invest in something. Like if you're going to set up an office, maybe you're going to pay rent. You're not going to build an office, but you're going to pay rent, and you buy some office furniture and some computers. If that amounts to 3 Bitcoins, you will have a permanent residency. So it's not that you have to pay for your residency. It's just that you have to invest the amount of 3 Bitcoins in the country, so you get permanent residency. And that's not the only good thing about investing here, but also the environment. The thing that Bitcoin is a legal tender, so if the currency goes up or you transact in a different price, that you make the transaction at a different price that you did the previous transaction, that's just the value of the currency. It's not that there's no capital gains. No, because we're getting capital gains away from Bitcoin. It's just that a currency doesn't have capital gains because it's not an asset that is worth more. It's just that the currency is worth more in parallel to another currency. So there's no capital gains on it. And also, you will have a lot of the environment. You will have a lot of Bitcoiners and a lot of talent and a lot of developers and entrepreneurs working here. So that would be nice. And also, there's no property tax. We're probably one of the few countries in the world that doesn't have a property tax. And that's not only for Bitcoin. That's just for everybody. But we have no property tax, so you can actually buy a very nice, and we have great beaches and very great surfing beaches too. So you can buy a very lovely house in the front of the sea and living in the beach, and in a Bitcoin environment, you would get permanent residency because you already invested in the house, and you would get no capital gains tax from your transactions. You can mine here with clean energy.
Well, yeah, I can't leave without asking you about volcano.
Yeah, but to answer your question, and you will have no property tax on your beachfront house. So it's for me, it's a great deal. I mean, of course, it's not a deal for everyone, but it's a deal for a lot of people, and that would be good for the country. Also, it's not only good for Bitcoiners; it's also good for the country because you have talent coming, companies coming, investment coming, money flowing. So that's good for the people. It's good for the country. It's good for development. It's good for jobs. It's good for Bitcoin. It's good for the world. I mean, this is gonna be huge.
Well, I'm considering it for sure.
Yeah, you should.
I should.
Yeah, at least you can buy a vacation house. I mean, you don't have to live the full year here, but you can live 3 months here or 6 or
long enough to have the better tax rates than the UK.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So
you can be traveling to the UK.
exactly. So tell me about the volcano mining.
Yeah.
I made a show that went out on Wednesday with my friend Harry, who's a miner, and we discussed all different energy sources. But it was prior to your announcement, so geothermal didn't even come up.
Yeah.
Tell me about the volcano mining.
Well, geothermal, it's a very, very clean source of energy. And it's probably one of the, I wouldn't say the best, because there's a lot of other green energy projects that are good. But it has almost no downsides. I mean, for example, solar is very good. Actually, we're building some solar projects because we have a lot of sun, and we have to, that's very good and it's clean. But you need batteries if you want them to work at night, or you need a different source of power to power things up at night. And the peak in energy consumption is in nighttime, so you don't have any sun at peak consumption. Wind, it works at night, but it doesn't work when it's not windy. And you would have, for example, we have a lot of hydroelectric. That's great because you have the battery, which the battery is the dam. So you fill the dam with water, and that's your battery, right? So it works very well. But still, it depends on how much it rained, and you're probably, cutting some river stream down. So you're probably affecting some people. You're affecting fishermen. So there's downsides. But with geothermal energy, that's the energy of the earth. I mean, it's right there. You can make the well, you can not make the well, and the energy will be there. I mean, it's just the earth's energy. And it works 24/7, 365 days a year. It will probably work for the next 500 million years or whatever, just before the sun absorbs us or something. So it's going to be there. It's there 24/7. The amount of energy you get from it, it's stable. It's totally stable, because the shifts in the Earth's power are measured in the millions of years. Not measured like any other thing, like in seasons or months. It's measured in the millions of years. So it's there, and we have discovered new wells that will give us 95 megawatts, which is not like huge, but still it's quite considerable. So we want to use that for Bitcoin mining, and we already have received a lot of interest from a lot of people.
Not surprised.
Yeah, and if you add up, of course, you know that to make things materialize, it takes time and negotiations and those types of things, and you have to pick up the good guys. But still, we have probably had interest in 2 gigawatts, which is 2,000 megawatts, and we only have 95. So it's gonna, I mean, they're gonna go like this, and that's gonna provide a lot of income to the country. And the plant, to build up a plant, it's gonna cost $480 million. So that's gonna be a legacy for the country, because we are building infrastructure paid by Bitcoin. And we're looking into something we're gonna announce later, but I think this whole project is gonna pay for other things as well. So in the future, you will see schools being built with a sign that says, this school is being built with the Bitcoin law. Or suddenly you're seeing health clinics and say, this health clinic is being built by resources from the Bitcoin law. Or sports complexes, or so roads, bridges. So it's not gonna be only good for the monetary system or for the currency, and for remittances and for economic inclusion and for banking services like lending, or it's not only gonna be good for the Bitcoiners and tourism and investing and jobs, but also for energy and income to do social projects like schools or roads and bridges. That without this law, they wouldn't have that thing that would pay for them. So it's going to be, I mean, it's a full circle.
It's a big project.
Big project.